Hey, today we're going to learn how to put together one of my printable Traveler's Notebook inserts. It's from my beloved collection for Valentine's Day, and I think you're going to like it. I'm Melissa from pinkpaperpeppermints.com. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is print our cover. And you can print that on cardstock, but what I like to use is a double-sided matte photo paper. And I use Staples brand. I get it on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description below. And the reason that I use that is because cardstock is going to soak up your ink. It's going to give you kind of a flat, dull finish, whereas matte photo paper is going to give you a really rich, deep color. So you'll see here I've got 4 crop marks in the 4 corners of my cover, and I'm just going to lay this on my paper trimmer, and I'm going to line up those crop marks, make sure they're straight, and I'm going to cut just on the inside of that gray line. I'm going to cut the long sides first, and then I'm going to cut the short sides. And after you cut, you might see that you have a little bit of that gray crop mark left, and don't worry about that. We're going to take care of that in a minute. So now I want to give you a little tip on folding your cover. To make sure that your edges are not crooked and don't overlap each other, you're going to line up the corners and pinch the fold in the center and then lay it down, and you're going to smooth it out from the center to the right and then to the left, and that's going to give you a nice fold without it overlapping on the edges. And then if you want to take your bone folder later and smooth that out and get a really crisp edge, you can do that as well. Now we're going to cut our pages, and for the pages I just use regular printer paper. You could use a presentation paper. It's going to be a little more expensive though, and it's also going to add some bulk to your journal, which I add a lot of things to my journal. I like lots of layers, so I don't really want that extra bulk. And the paper seems to do okay with the color, so I just use regular printer paper. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut the long edges and the short edges. We're going to fold, and then we're going to use our corner rounder and round the corners. And that's going to take care of any of those little leftover gray marks that you might have from the crop marks. Once we have that all cut and put together, we're going to open it up to the center page, and we're just going to slide it under the elastic in our Traveler's Notebook. So now I'm ready to work on my pages, and I don't actually sew my book together or staple it before I start working in it. I know some people like to do that, but the elastic holds it just fine for me, and I really like the freedom of being able to take the pages out and reorder them, or take one to my sewing machine, or paint it and leave it out to dry. So I just leave them loose, and even when I'm finished with the book, a lot of times I just leave it loose inside the elastic. Well, if you'd like to see how I decorate some of these pages, I hope you'll stick around because I've got a process video coming out very soon. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful day filled with peace and grace, and I'll see you next time here on Pink Paper Peppermints.